Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining Whiskey Wednesday Weekly. This week, I have a special guest. His name is Tyler Boone, musician, whiskey maker, the whole damn shebang. And we'll get into his story. But first of all, I just want you guys to make sure you guys like, subscribe, continue to support the channel. Obviously, we'll give you all his MOs here in a little while towards the end of this, how you can get a hold of him, follow him. The guy's got amazing music. He's unreal. If you just listen to a few of his songs, his guitar skills is just the style of music. I've already kind of started to love it. And I just, met the guy on Instagram maybe a couple months ago.
Well, thanks, man.
So with that being said, Tyler Boone, welcome, Tyler Boone. How you doing?
Good, man. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, dude. It's so cool. You found us on Instagram a couple months ago. I remember that you just DM'd us. That was awesome.
Yeah. I just like different ideas. I had a couple other people I've reached out on Instagram. I had a really good interview last week with the founder of Mad Media, the Mint 400. I mean, he's a huge local, he's not, I don't want to say local just because he's local, but he's actually, world renowned. His company's done all the big videos. So that was a pretty cool, interesting through a friend. So I love how, these connections are coming through. And so again, thank you so much for everybody for supporting me. So Tyler, we'll start off real quick with just, Tyler, as mentioned, is a whiskey maker as well as a musician, but I believe you had mentioned you're from South Carolina and music was your passion first. So tell us a little bit about, maybe not so much growing up as a child, but like really where did music start and where are you originally from?
For sure, man. So, Charleston, South Carolina, right? Mm-hmm. And so I went to I grew up there. I was born in Texas, but I grew up in South Carolina. High school, started playing music as like a young kid, like, band and stuff. But then I was always into sports. And then, but eventually I got out of the band stuff in high school and started playing guitar, right? And it was a big metalhead kid. Everybody was. And like, just shredding like crazy. And then I went to college, right? And then my freshman year, I stuck around Charleston for a year for transferring. And this is where I'm going to get at, where I ended up hanging out with some pretty big music guys because they all live in South Carolina. And so I eventually went to Carolina as a sophomore. I was always touring. I was always playing music. I always had a band. And then eventually the band just became Tyler Boone because I started realizing, and this is probably when I was 19, 20, because you would be in a band. It's kind of like anything else, man. You're in a band, you start writing good music, and then maybe, because you're broke musicians, you guys maybe throw down some cash to record, and they do all this work, and then the band breaks up, right? And so then you're like, oh, shit, this sucks. You know what I mean? And so then eventually I was like, all right, I'm just going to call it Tyler Boone. And what I ended up learning, what everyone does now is you hire guns for hire. You keep all the music royalties yourself. But for live shows, you got a band. Obviously, the band's dope, but, you got to hire them. And so fast forward, eventually I went to Carolina, and then which is University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks. And then my loans messed up, blessed in disguise, because I had to go back to Charleston and for a year. And then I met the guys from Hootie and the Blowfish. Nice. And so I started doing a lot of shows with those guys. And so, and just like always just doing stuff. And so then Mark, the guitar player at the time, was an adjunct professor at the College of Charleston. He's like, hey, dude, like, just come to College of Charleston. Like this, why go back to Carolina? And so I went there and graduated. I was like Van Wilder. I was like, I transferred so many
times.
Love
that movie, dude. Seen that movie so many times.
I love it, too. I always felt like that was actually – the dean said that. I was arts management. It's A. And then last name Boone, B. And so I'm at the very front. And College of Charleston is a very unique graduation. Like you wear like a smoking white jacket like James Bond.
Oh, okay.
Girls wear a dress. It's all outside. It's all beautiful. And so, AB, I'm on the front row, and the picture my parents love it. It's funny because I'm just like doing this to my parents, and it's nothing but girls. I'm the only guy in the photo. And so it looks like we went to a full school of just chicks. And so Van Wilder, the dean, was like, let's give it up for like the veterans. Let's give it up for the athletes going pro. Let's give it for Van Wilder right here. And then my teacher tipped him to say, it was so funny. My parents were laughing so hard.
Just I was classic moment. Yeah. That's funny.
But College Charleston was beautiful though because it's a good town for music. It's blowing up now. There's festivals. Actually, this is one of our festivals, the Charleston Songwriters Festival. I started with a company out of Nashville because now it keeps winning every year.
Yeah.
Like the best tourist spot to go to, and the music scene's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But the one thing is why I eventually moved to Nashville, where the Boone's Bourbon became like the idea was because there's a glass ceiling there, you know, and so you could be like the biggest band, sell out. It's like the Music Farm, like the big rock club downtown, 1,000-seater spot. But then that's it, you know what I mean? And then eventually no one cares anymore. Everyone that saw you, they start moving, da da da. And then, you know, you're like 45, 50, still playing cover gigs, and you drink all the time. I call it the Peter Pan syndrome. And I saw it happen to me because I was drinking and hanging out way too much. And so eventually, 2014, I made the decision I was going to move to Nashville the next year. And then this is how the Bourbon came along. I was working at a restaurant, and I was doing pretty well, man. I was like, you know, touring, and for like a musician, I had some cash, you know, but whatever. But I didn't have a lot of responsibilities either. So I was working at this restaurant, and this is how the Bourbon came about. And I heard this guy talking about like touring and numbers and stuff. I was like, oh, this guy must be, and he was wearing like just his outfit looked like it was Nashville. And I was like, okay, this guy is somebody. And so I told the manager, I was like, hey, I got to get off. You know, slow night. Can I get out? She goes, yeah, get out of here. And so I waited outside, changed my clothes. It's like a nice, like, you know, white tie type restaurant I worked at.
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, so I'm now just like street clothes, just hanging. And then he comes out, he kind of looks at me, I kind of look away, and he's with like other people. And they get down the block, and I start following them. I was like, you know, I was like, I wonder if they're going to their bar or something. And they did. They walked into Charleston Place, which is like a very famous spot. And it said CMA convention. I was like, boom, that's Country Music Awards Association. And I don't play country, but I was going to move to Nashville. I was like, oh, I should probably talk to the guys. So I sit at the bar, like all these big broke country stars that start like singing. They were like this Brett Eldridge and Jason something, I forget his name, just big country stars. I didn't know who they were at the time, but then eventually.
Jason Aldean?
It wasn't Jason Aldean.
Oh, okay. I don't know a lot of country either. I just know my wife does. So the names sound, I thought I'd go for that one.
he's got that song like Buy Me a Boat. Chris Jansen. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. Chris Jansen. Okay. Yeah.
Like he was sitting there and a whole bunch of people, man. And eventually I call my friends, yo, dude, other musician get friends because they, you know, they don't have jobs. They're just playing gigs like me. I'm like, dude, get down here. You know, like I need someone to vibe with. And then the guy, this is how it all happened. The guy was like, well, how it led to Nashville was like, hey, he eventually walks up. He's like, hey, man, this is very calculated, and we've all been drinking. He's like, what are you doing here? Like, you were obviously at the restaurant, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you know, I heard you talking about music, you know, and I'm a songwriter. And he's like, okay, what do you do? And I you know, it's not always so cool to drop names, but sometimes you have to do it. And I was like, well, I'm opening up for Sheryl Crow in a couple weeks. And he's like, oh, put it there. I'm Clint Hyam. I manage Kenny Chesney. And so I was like, oh shit, that's pretty big. And like if you look at the top 50 Billboard players every year, it's always like Doc McGee for Kiss, which used to manage Hootie and Darius. And then it's like Clint Hyam, like top 10. Like they just make millions of dollars. And so you know, like stadiums and stadium stuff. And
right.
So we kept in touch. And then I was like, I'm gonna move to Nashville. We kept having all these meetings, and eventually what it came to a head, and you should watch it if you haven't seen it. It's like they call them like the Music Row deals. If you watch Sonic Highway's HBO, the Foo Fighters documentary, it was like 2016 came out. Okay. It's awesome because they go to every big city in the United States, and they hang out and write with the big musicians there, and then they record a song, right? And so the Nashville one, they have Dan Arbach, Black Keys, and Carrie Underwood as they're interviewing, and they talk about the Music Row deal, which is very much like they get Ken Boone, the best looking dude, and then they get you a publishing deal. You don't write the record, right? You might co-write something, who knows, right? But most likely not. They get the big writers. And then they get you a record deal. And in country music, it's huge when it's a number one, right? Like, oh, I got number one. I got 3 number ones. Like, it's just like a resume thing.
Sure.
And then if you get a number one, you're in, dude. You're in the country music business.
Wow.
It's totally different than the other stuff. And so eventually, you know, with all these meetings, they're like, hey, man, like, we only do bro country music. In 2015 as well, Florida Georgia Line was king. Like all the big bro country, like Red Dirt and all that kind of stuff, right? And so then Chris Stapleton came out the next year and kind of changed everything, where everyone kind of started going back to more outlaw, traditional stuff, right? And then, you know, whatever, the whole thing kind of changed after that. Jason Isbell, Sturgill Simpson, stuff like that. But whatever. So that was kind of happening, right? And so I had all these other big meetings, like agents and stuff. And so this other guy came along, was like, you know, not involved in the music industry, but knew about it. He was like, hey man, like, it was my friend's dad actually. And he's like, hey, you know, how about we do a spirit with your name on it? You know, like, you know, a lot of other country stars do that. You figure it out. I'll pay for it. Long story short, he didn't really have the money because he had his money tied up in his other business, and so he couldn't put any money down. But before I knew that, I was like, all right, word. I was working at a liquor store too, like a very nice liquor store.
Oh, nice.
Where they're selling like extremely expensive bottles of wine and like all the bourbons and whiskeys you want. And so I was broke as shit, but I was just learning, dude, because the reps would come in and, you start learning about MGP, you start learning about all this stuff, like the business side of it. It's not just a bottle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then I got my TTB, I got my federal, and basically I had 6 part-time jobs, man. I was living off credit cards. It was crazy.
Good Lord.
And it was nuts. I did a Kickstarter for an album and I was hustling. And so anyway, I eventually found out you need your federal, you need your state, right? And the state is the hardest. And so federal is pretty easy. If you could show them like your COLA, which is like your label,
right?
You could show that it's being stored somewhere dry, not like in your house. It's just certain things like a checklist. You could do it, but also I needed money. And so I was going to do this out of Linville, Tennessee, at a place called 10 South Distillery. Those guys are awesome. They taught me so freaking much. I would drive down an hour to their place like once every 2 weeks just to like learn more. And they thought I had the money. And I was like, yeah, I got the money because this guy said he had the money, but then there was no money. You know what I mean? So eventually the guy's like, all right, man, like, you going to buy this stuff? And I was like, I don't have the money, man. And so it kind of ended. And so I moved back to Charleston, probably like 6 months later during all that. And I went for eye surgery and I was going to move back. And during that time, as I'm recovering, I was just hitting up distilleries. Like, I wonder if anyone here could do it. And this place called Straight Pig Distillery on the back of the bottle, where it says Charleston. They were kind of struggling at the time. And so they were like, they do it all the time. It's a white label thing.
Sure.
Like I'm not the distiller, right?
Nope.
And so they're like, hey man, we got your state license. If you want, you can use ours. I was like, what? That's all we need, dude. I got my federal. And so went down there, Johnny, James, and Johnny, Jim, and James showed us how to do all this stuff. And they're like, all right, what do you want your mash bill to be? How much alcohol? And so I was like, straight up full-time musician.
Make it
right,
strong
man.
as shit.
Yeah, he just took it out of me.
Dude, I'm telling you, this shit is gnarly. It's my wife's favorite, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome. Man.
Oh, she loves this shit. Yeah.
Does she like it neat or in a cocktail?
No, we just do it over ice, man. Clear cube. I'm a very snobby whiskey drinker, so I don't get into all the flavors and everything. Like, everyone tastes it and stuff. I'm not that show. I just like whiskey, and this one is it's definitely the most bang for your buck. I mean, you have a great price point. For the flavor and the percentage of alcohol. That's unreal. So I don't want to stop that story because you did go over some stuff. So we'll get back to that in a second because you at least got me to where. And I did see a few posts from the distillery that you were talking about. But you did skip over a few big parts that we'll come back to this because this is obviously a huge deal.
Sure.
But my points of knowing your story a little bit and doing some history research, you have opened for Sheryl Crow. You did hang out with Hootie and the Blowfish and do some stuff with them. Now, Hootie, obviously you say Hootie and the Blowfish, but Darius Rucker is a country solo artist, correct? So at what point were you with him? And you said you don't do country, but were you with him during the country? I mean, obviously if you're in Nashville, you can do blues and pretty much anything you want, but it sounds like you were kind of running with some country people. What made you go more blues, American rock kind of thing? Because I believe your genre is kind of that, right?
Yeah, man. Like we're doing this thing on Saturday, December 5th, repill day. It's like, prohibition stuff with Fred Minnick.
I reposted that on Instagram the other day. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you.
I didn't tag you. I forgot. I apologize, but I did repost it. Yeah.
Well, anytime you tag us, we'll repost it. Hands down.
I apologize.
Well, I mean, it's cool, man. It's a cool event. It's a live virtual music festival. And we did this thing this weekend where it's nothing but blues rock, right? And so I think when I finished the deal, or when I turned down that deal with Clint and those guys, which there's no bad feelings, you know what I mean? It was just, it was what it was. I was like, I can't do that kind of music. But I was touring a lot with a guy named Will Hogue a lot, big songwriter. Eli Young Band cut his song, Even If It Breaks Your Heart. So he's a big songwriter. But he's more Americana, right? And so that EP I did 2016 was in between blues rock and Americana. And I always do songwriter stuff, but what I would love to always do ever since I was like 16 is play the guitar. and 18 is when I started getting into blues music. So, and I kind of just eventually recently like just told myself, hey man, like I always go back and forth. I'll do like a songwriter tune because I've done it before, and like this one tune, Paper Wings, is like really big on Spotify. It's like over 1 million, but
Super
that's
good
like
song, by the way.
Well, thank you. The production on is insane. This guy Brandon McCaff did it in Nashville. He crushed it.
Yeah.
But I love playing rock blues stuff. Like if I could do like Black Keys, Jack White, Gary Clark Jr. stuff all day, I would. So, you know, when this video comes out, we'll put out. It's gonna be a live record too. I've always done that, but living in Nashville, you know, the young people you're hanging out with, like at my age, like some dude, well, eventually one day he got his song cut, and now he's huge, and he did an acoustic thing. So you kind of assume, I guess, with your surroundings, like, oh, I should be doing that too. But then, you know, now I'm 30, and I feel like I'm 50 because all I do is freaking work all the time. but what I'm saying is now I'm like, you know what, man, I'm just gonna do what I want to do, and I think it comes out. It really does. Well, for you, it makes you feel better finally. And then number two, it kind of comes out more honest too, instead of like trying to do, you know, because, you know, you can go in the studio if you know how to write a song and stuff, you can go in there and you can do it, you know.
Yeah.
But you might not. It might not come off so cool, you know.
Yeah.
So blues rock all the way, man. Like I can't wait for that live concert. We did this thing at this place called Third Encore in Hollywood for that live concert comes on Saturday, and like they had Weezer in there, they had Foo Fighters, they had Katy Perry, the day after yesterday, I guess.
Yeah.
Harry Farrell, Jane's Addiction. It's like it was legit, dude. Like none of us had played a real concert in months, right? And the way that they dial it up, I mean, it was I mean, we knew what we were getting into, but just like the experience with it. When we all finally finished, it took us 5 hours to do 7 songs. We kept doing over and over. We were all like, oh, holy shit, that was awesome. Because it felt like we had a brain workout.
Right. Yeah, you got it all off your chest, right? Like it's been a while, right?
But, you know, we could have gone there and did like the pretty thing, and it'd be cool. But we're all kind of, the guys that I hired, we're all like kind of players, you know what I mean? Where we can go shredding for a minute, and like we know how to do that and give each other like looks. We're like, all right, we're going to go to the next part. And it was cool, man. When I lived in Nashville too, I guess getting with this, that I know I'm a tangent, but in Nashville, it's always like the song, and you play to a click. And if the song is 4 minutes and 36 seconds, that's how it's going to be live. What I like to do is like, hey man, here's the song, here's the structure. But if we go off for a little bit and get like a little Grateful Deady or something and come back, that's cool with me too. And dude, that's my favorite shit.
You're bringing out some shit.
Yeah, that's my
30.
favorite.
You're 30. I'm 49, dude. It's like, it's so interesting, bro. Like you're bringing up the dead and shit.
Dude, man, I always a guitar player first, man. Always a guitar player first. If I could jam out every day and not have to do this other stuff, I would.
Is that the clip that I saw you on IGTV or whatever, where you were just ripping up on the stage like yesterday or something like that?
Yeah, that was a promo video for it.
Yeah, that shit was tight. I sent that to all my guys on the East Coast. I mean, they're, you know, you bring up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, you bring up the. We got some feedback. I don't know if your mic is loud or coming back in mine.
Oh. No, is that better?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I could hear myself. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Here, dude. If you give me 1 second.
I don't talk too much during these interviews, but I try to, if I feedback, I don't want to have it echoing.
No, I got it. Hold on. Let me grab a headphone.
Yeah, you're good. I'll just have a sip of your whiskey while I'm waiting.
Here you go. This will be better. So you don't hear yourself anymore. Boom.
All right.
What's up?
There you go. Perfect.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Nice.
So the part I was going to say was I just remember a lot of my guys back east, I used to, you know, they're major, like they still play. They're like 48 and 49 and they still play in like bars, you know, like that's their jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They just never,
yeah.
They never got to that step you're talking about, you know, and it's not a knock on them. I mean, you know, they love music. That's their passion. One's a drummer that has had like 3 surgeries. I mean, he's just, you know, but like, I get your story because I followed them. I was like the bass player for like 2 years and I sucked. So, you know, and music wasn't my thing, but I've always appreciated really good music, especially, you know, music like, you know, yours and soulful stuff. So again, it's not about me, but I just love that relatability. Now, you said your dad's Mike Boone?
Michael.
Mick,
Yep.
I'm sorry. Okay. Because there was a Mike Boone that I grew up with in high school, that I was like, holy shit, what if that's the same guy? Because you're 30, he could be your son. But he's from South Carolina.
That's cool.
I assume your dad, right?
Well, from San Diego. But
so
they live in South Carolina.
Got it. Okay, so your dad actually was from here.
And my mom, they met and they got engaged at the Coronado Hotel.
Nice.
My dad used to work there.
Yeah.
So yes, they're San Diegans all the way down, man. All my cousins, everybody lives in San Diego.
Dude,
I never grew up there.
Mind blown, because I'm like, this part of the story, guys who are watching, is that we were talking about, my name, last name, and all that stuff, and we're somehow kind of related through Daniel Boone. And what's interesting is I'm from Maryland originally. I'm left when I was 19, so I've got the Boone ancestors out there. My father died, I don't know, 6 years ago. Roland Boone, but you're, saying you're from here and I've been out here since 91, right? So it's kind of weird how you're living out, or, your parents are back there now and I'm out here. It's kind of weird.
Well, everyone's from Coronado, El Cajon.
Yeah.
Gosh, man. My dad grew up in Imperial Beach.
Oh shit.
You ever go to IB?
Oh yeah. I used to live there. I was in the Navy, and I actually lived there just in like housing because it was attached to the Strand, so I could just go to Coronado to work. Yeah.
My grandfather was in the Navy for years. World War II, Korea, and they lived. I mean, you could see Tijuana from his front door.
Oh yeah.
Imperial Beach.
Yeah. I was in Imperial Beach, and then I'd drive down the Strand to my carrier on the Coronado Islands. I was stationed on the Kitty Hawk for 4 years. So that's very,
awesome,
very
dude.
Cool, man. That's hilarious.
Did you ever go to the Sun and Sea Festival?
I don't think so. I mean, if I did, I didn't remember it.
It's super famous sandcastle. It's a festival in Imperial Beach, been for like 40, 50 years.
Oh, where they build all the sandcastles and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went 1 year, but like I said, I was 19 or 20. I didn't even know what the hell it was called. I just showed up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, dude, IB is now like blown up. There's like hotels down there. There's like there's like the Imperial Beach Brewery. Like that's crazy. Wow. Because back then it was kind of, according to my dad, it was like scary. It was just like
very, very rough. Gnarly. Yeah, that's how I could afford it.
Yeah. Well, now the Boone's Bourbon now sponsors the Sun and Sea Festival every year, and then we play it every year.
Wow.
And so it's this huge like production thing. It's awesome, dude. So San Diego's super close to my heart. Like I might go down to San Diego soon. I'm not sure, just to see my uncles and stuff. But but my parents are from San Diego. They moved. My dad was the Border Patrol, so he was like somewhat close to the military. And then he ended up landing in Charleston. That's where I grew up, man. So Charleston is definitely my home. Yeah, I love. You ever been to Charleston? It is its own thing, dude.
No,
I call it the Peter Pan syndrome. So and I'm not hating on anybody, but I just saw like where my life could have gone. Right. And I was like, I saw these guys that are like 45, 50, 55 still playing bars. And here's the thing though, the economy has changed a million different times, but the payment for cover bands is still the same. It's like $100 a guy, no matter what. Right. Yeah. And so you can make a pretty good living. I was hustling hard, man. I could make up to like $1,000 a week. Right. But I was fucking tired. You know what I mean? Right. I was so tired. It was like, I'll do 3 gigs a day. And then like by the third one, you're like, screw it. I'm going to get drunk because I'm tired. You know what I mean? And then you're hungover the next day. You know what I mean? And then
you're not playing as good. Yeah. Yeah.
You start looking a little chubby, and you're like, all right, this isn't good. So that's where I was like, I got to make something work. You know what I mean? With the music and trying to accelerate it. And then also too, when you're having too good of a time, you're not thinking about, hey, maybe I should save this money and put a record out. You know what I mean? Right. So that's what a lot of people don't do, So anyway, but yeah, man. So, but music first, bourbon second.
Super. The interesting part is you're 30, right? So I always liken it to like, this hasn't taken that much time for you. You were touring with all these people, having amazing stuff. I mean, I saw like Christopher Cross. I mean, holy shit, like, Sublime. I mean, you've played with all these people. You've been up for awards. And these are all probably not like CMA and all that stuff that I would hear commercially, but like awards that mean something, music festival awards, Deep South stuff, almost like the movie one that, the movies that are made.
Sundance.
Thank you.
There you go. Yep.
Sundance Film Festival winners are usually like super good Oscar, but they didn't spend a shit ton of money, right? Like those that's how I feel like the awards, like you've been involved in that amazing like if someone brought your name up out there, they'd be like, oh, hell yeah, that guy shreds, you know? But it's like you're trying to make it to the next level and you're already there. I mean, you're there. It's just like you've got to get I just feel like your name is just like, that's the baddest name ever, Tyler Boone. I mean, it's just badass. I just love the flow, though, Tyler Boone. It's just good shit. So the other thing was, you know, my mom has seen you, and she's a huge, like she's straight Eastern Shore, redneck, country, soul, blues. No, like all that music. And she's a huge, like, Elvis freak, right? So when I've shown her a couple of clips,
cool.
When you've got your hair down and no glasses, you kind of look a little bit like Elvis. Did he ever inspire your music at all? I mean, he's been way gone, but did you ever listen to Elvis jams? I just told her I'd plug him a little bit.
Well, no, dude, like Memphis, right? And so living in Nashville, I was always kind of jealous not living in Memphis because it's more the blues like town, right? Nashville's like the songwriting town. We sing about beers and shit. And Memphis is like just different, man. And so like Beale Street, you know what I mean? So no, I loved Elvis growing up too. My parents would they made us like sing Elvis at like, you know, I have a twin brother. And so his name's Hunter. He lives in New York. He works in like video production. He works for like MTV and Viceland and stuff like that. So,
nice.
But you know, we would sing Elvis Presley at like talent shows and stuff. And so I always, like, my dad sends me all the time, like Facebook Messenger, because they live on the East Coast. He'll just send me like, hey, check this new Elvis clip. He sent one like the other day where it's that one where he's like, it looks like it's a stage in the middle and all these women around him and they're just freaking the fuck out. And he's playing like the big acoustic, like the white Gibson.
He's got the white. Is he like a little bit overweight at that time?
No. He was young. His hair looks real good.
Yeah.
But he's just like singing and rocking. He's got a whole band with him, but it's like kind of intimate. I love that shit. You know what I mean? I think, I mean, if you know music too, what most songs were back then when it became not like jazz and the rock and roll shit started coming out, they all played 1-4-5, and that means the root note 1, then you go the 4th and the 5th out of 8. It's a theory thing. But like if you listen to Buddy Guy or B.B. King, that's a blues 1-4-5. But what Elvis Presley did, they made it a little different, but it was still a 1-4-5, so it's still blues oriented.
Right. Yeah, very blues. Yeah.
I love some stuff. Yep. So I love Elvis Presley for sure. I do. My hair will sometimes have that like little.
Oh, it kicked out.
The pompadour.
Yeah.
The hell.
Yeah, pompadour. Yeah.
Pompadour. There you go.
You had the day. You had like a bang and shit. Like you were just getting down and you had a bang, and I was like, dude, that so look like Elvis, bro. Even with the guitar, man. I mean, I understand you're like sponsored by Taylor now, right?
Sponsored by Taylor.
An official.
Sponsored by Taylor, and then by Magnatone amps. I got my Magnatone there. So Magnatone is like ZZ Top. Yeah. Which that's my dad's favorite band.
Freaking grew up ZZ Top, bro.
Loved it. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Stevie Ray Vaughan's my shit. But that guitar I was playing is a Gibson 19. So my Taylor's on stage, but I actually never played it. So I don't know if Taylor's going to share that video. Probably not. But I bought this Gibson. I was like kind of like, shit, I should have done that. But that Gibson I bought is a 1974 ES345, which is a B.B. King model. Yeah. It's got this one switch on it that he used for stuff. But I bought it out here, and I walked into the Guitar Store, and they had a deal for it. And I was like, holy shit, man, I got to buy this. And I haven't bought a new guitar in years. And I bought that a couple months ago. And I bought it back in March, so it's been a minute. But that guitar is insane, dude. And so like that was fucking fun to play.
Yeah, you were shredding like a son of a bitch, dude. It was like I just love, like, that's all I need is just guitar, you know.
Me too, man. Yeah. I love jam music. I'll just, as I'm working all day, that's what's playing in the background. You know what I mean? So
now it's funny you say you have a twin brother. I have twin boys. They're 18.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that you have a twin brother. Yeah, maybe he'll do my podcast one day.
Are they fraternal or identical?
Identical. Yeah.
That's cool. We were fraternal, but I think the doctor was dumb because we were exactly the same.
You look just like.
Yeah, we have the same allergies, the same eye condition, the same eye. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're super twins, man. But he's 4 minutes older.
Oh, okay.
Are they separated longer?
1 minute.
1 minute. Wow.
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
Wow.
It was a C-section, so.
Okay.
It was very well. It was calculated.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, all right, we got to go for the next one. Let's go.
Yeah. One
That's
of
awesome,
ours
man.
was a preemie though. Like, I mean, they're both preemies. They were born early, but one was only 1 pound and 8 ounces, and the other was 2 pounds 10 ounces. They had to come out emergency.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was like a baby bird, dude. Holy shit, that's
yeah.
crazy.
Oh, they were both.
Wow.
I mean, one palm of the hand. Now, granted, I didn't get to hold them very much because they were in the bubble for about 8 weeks. But when we did, they were
man,
tiny. Yeah, hanging on for the life. Frankly.
God bless, dude.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm
God
glad
bless.
they both survived.
We were too. We were in the bubble for a minute. We were small as shit. It happens with twins.
It's twins.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
You're like, you barely get like a perfect pregnancy, they say, you know?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I saw Sheryl Crow in concert a long time ago, and I know you weren't there. That was like,
cool.
I want to say it was, who sings Glycerine? Bush. They opened for her back in the day. It was like at the Spreckles Theater or somewhere at the Civic Center in San Diego. But I'm just saying, like, what was that like? Like, how tight do you get to know these people when you tour with them? I guess my question was, I don't want to be a typical questionnaire, like, what were they like? But what is it that you took away? I almost feel like instead of being like, oh, of course, you know, I took away the fact that there's a lot of, what was the hardest part about seeing what they had to do to become famous, you know, and like what drove you to be like, I want to be like that?
Well, you know, it's I guess people assume when you're on tour with somebody, like you're like their best friend. You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't even get to know them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or sometimes you get to know someone else in the crew. And I guess I'll give you a better example. Because that was like a whole tour all across the Midwest. And so I did it twice. And obviously I'll probably do it again. Cause I mean, if they asked me to do it again, I would do it. Cause it was so much fun. By the way, if you tour in the Midwest as a band, every band loves to tour in the Midwest because I'm not hating on the Midwest. I'm just saying how it is. There's not a lot usually going on. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so the shows usually sell out no matter who's playing. You know what I mean? Because people want to go do something. So I did a couple tours with, well, when I did Sheryl Crow, she was, you know, this is 2015, 14.
Okay.
14. It was she said hi to me. That was it. You know what I mean? I was like, hey. She was hey. And then I almost fell over because she looks so freaking hot.
So
and I was like,
freaking
holy
good
shit.
show, yeah.
She was barefoot. One pant leg was red. The other was blue. She had a security guard in front of her and behind her. And she just walked by. And I went, hey, what's up? And she goes, hey. And I was like, fuck. It was
I'm
crazy.
happy.
But that was a big show, man. Yeah. I was like, that's all I needed. But that was a really cool show, man, because we were like direct support for her. So, you know, obviously the band was cool. But you know, she got flooded by a helicopter.
Yeah.
We did Christopher Cross. We parted with him and his whole band. They actually got us banned from Boone Hall Plantation, actually.
Nice.
So Boone Hall Plantation's in Charleston. And they got us banned because they came on. They gave us a trailer at this. It's called this wine festival, and we opened up. And then after that, my parents are there and all their friends. They're getting wine drunk, and they're on our trailer. And for us, we're like, holy shit, this is great. This is huge. We have a trailer, and this whole band came on the bus with us because they're like, this sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And so we're like, yeah, come on in. And then Christopher Cross came up for a second. He's a little older, and then he left. And then basically, they all trashed our trailer. And the guy putting on the festival was like, you trashed our trailer. I was like, it was Christopher Cross and his band. They're like, hell no, you can't come back for a year. I was like, I guess that's pretty rock and roll.
Right.
But you know, we got to know them really well. The keyboardist in Christopher Cross, her dad was the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, nice.
That was cool as shit. But like with David Cook, I guess that's the guy I'm gonna get at. I did a lot of David Cook tours for American Idol. That guy sold. By the way, if you look him up, like I did more research as I did the shows with him. He was one of the biggest artists in the world when American Idol was really actually something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was the second or third. You know what I mean?
David Cook.
He sold millions of albums, like platinum. And so he's got some crazy fans too, man. And I have these fans that hit me up every time I post something. They're freaking awesome. And I'm like, dude, anytime I get asked to do a David Cook tour, I'll absolutely do it because they all sold out and stuff. But I never got to really know David so much. Right. I knew the whole band. They were cool as shit. But then by the end of it, eventually, you know, it's just interesting how that goes. And eventually by the end of it, he's just like, what's up, dude? I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, because it's kind of work. You're driving all day. You get to the hotel. You do sound check. And then, you know, obviously the guys who are closer to my age were like, what's up, dude? Let's drink. And I had the Boone's Bourbon with me the whole time. So we're just
you were crushing that.
I'm like, drink it. You know, and
promote.
Some cities had it. when I was selling T-shirts out the ass, I actually had bottles with me, and I might have sold a couple out the back of my car. But
That's awesome. Yeah.
but it's just interesting. You don't necessarily get to know everybody. But when I know I was talking with Hootie, I became very close friends with Mark Bryan, the guitar player.
Yeah.
And with Darius, didn't really do too much with him, but I used to help manage a band called Driving and Crying, big Southern rock band.
Dude, I know that band.
Yeah, big, like Fly Me Courageous, Straight to Hell.
Yeah.
If you look up Darius Rucker with Jason Aldean, and he's a huge bro country guy, whatever. If you just look up Straight to Hell, Darius Rucker, that's their song. It came out last summer.
Okay.
And so then I helped book them. I helped book Driving and Crying with Hootie, because Hootie got back together, right?
Yeah.
Well, they never broke up. Just Darius was doing his own thing.
He was doing his own thing. Yeah.
But when they decided to do it again full time, they went to Europe, and so we booked Driving and Crying with them. So like, but playing, helping manage that band, those guys were cool as shit. It just, you start to kind of realize people are people, and the ones that have just like some either mellow out and they're cool as shit, or some are just so freaking famous. They just think different than us, man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's not like they're being rude. They just don't have, like, they're just, boom, I got a job to do. It's like, I'm not trying to be a dick,
I mean, like, they walk down the street, people, hey, so.
Yeah, they kind of have to have a different mindset. Yeah.
To kind of separate their business life from their personal life. But, but Darius Rucker's a really nice guy. I mean, I've met him a whole bunch of times. I was just more close with Mark. So I don't know, man. You just meet tons of different people, but I've had a lot of cool experiences. Like, we opened up for the Avett Brothers. They weren't that nice, but they were really famous back then. So that's probably why.
Who was that?
I mean, not like the Avett Brothers.
Oh, okay. I missed the name. That's all.
So I'm just making examples. Like, they're not dicks, but that back in 2013, they were freaking huge. You know what I mean? And so they weren't being mean to us. They were just like, probably over it at that point. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
there's got to be a whole different mindset.
Depends who you're with, man.
Yeah.
Well, legacy bands, some of those guys legacy bands are like the bands that burn like ever. Some of those guys are just stoked that they still have work. Or I guess I'll end it with this. One of my best friends, Sean Carpenter, we met in Nashville. He was managed that guy, Will Hogue. We started this label together called Artist Formula. He has always been in the music business, and he was humble as shit. And I came to find out his dad is the keyboard player in the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Oh, okay.
And so my dad flipped the fuck out when he found out about that. And so we went to a private concert. I was like, Dad, be cool, man, be cool. But like, I've met his parents millions of times. I've gone golfing with him, and his dad is just the coolest fucking guy. And he always talks about how he's just stoked that he still has work. You know what I mean? Obviously, they're fucking famous. They're fine.
Of course.
But he's just stoked that people still want to come see their shows. So it depends who you hit, man.
Yeah, so, it's all, like you said, all these guys are retouring. I mean, I've seen Def Leppard last year. I saw freaking Journey with the new singer. I mean, you sing all. It's like they're just happy to be out there doing what they did back in the '80s. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like it's like anybody. I mean, if you love baseball or whatever, and you retire, you'd like to just get back out there and play in a men's league again. Who gives a shit if you're famous? You just want to do what you've been loving for years.
I think it keeps you young to keep working.
Yeah, well, that's true. If you're not green, you're not. I think they say if you're green, you're whatever. You're not growing or some shit. I don't know what it is, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Well, but it's true though. My dad got involved with the Boones because he retired early, and then he was just kind of golfing and hanging around. And I was like, hey, if you want to be a part of it, this is actually probably really good for you. Right. Because you'll get up and not be just chilling watching golf all day. Yeah. And I could see it in my dad's face, like he got younger.
Energy, younger. Youthful spirit, right?
Younger again. Yeah. Because it bums you out to see your parents get older. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, I could tell his face got younger again. I was like, hell yeah, because he's motivated. He gets up and he's doing shit. So
that's hilarious you say that, because like I said, my boys are 18, I'm 49, and I started this. I have another kind of character I do, but a separate deal. I won't bring that up. And then I run a lot of Spartans and stuff like that. And it just all started like 2-3 years ago, because it's like,
nice.
I do it because it's a different part of my life. And I want to kind of show them at their age that, when you get to be close to almost 50 and all this stuff, you're not, life's not over. If anything, it's a whole different chapter, and you want to kind of reinfuse yourself with energy in life. And, like you said, that's kind of cool that he got this whole new energy because, you know, he's now partnering. And I guarantee most of it's because it's your shit, right? Like he loves working with his son. Like my dream would be to do something, you know, I go do Spartans with my boys now, and it's like the best day ever.
That's
we
cool.
race together,
That's cool.
and, you know, it's like they're men now, you know, so it's like,
yeah.
It's that whole connection. So before I let you go,
it's cool.
I want to bring you back to the bourbon, not so much the story, but tell people right now where they can get the Boone's bourbon, because I got it at Total Wine and Spirits in Temecula. But is there a website? I mean, what's your big push for this bourbon that's so amazing? How do you get it?
So it's pretty amazing. I believe Amazon's going to eventually start doing this. It's going to change the freaking game.
Right.
But you can order liquor online now.
Yeah,
it's only been around like a year or two.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
I'm like,
what it is it has to go through California usually, which is interesting.
Right.
Because California has this law. So when you buy it, usually it gets shipped to California, then it gets shipped out all over. Oh, you ever heard of Flaviar?
Yeah, I'm a member. Yeah, that's where I got your bourbon for the first time, buddy.
Oh, no, that's right.
I told you that because there was two options, and I'm like, why would I not go with Boone's? I mean, hello. You know? And so then when I looked it up where to find the other bottles, I went and got more bottles at Total Wine.
Total Wine.
Yeah.
Well, you know, so basically online has been a really awesome thing for us.
Yeah.
But we're in 25 states, but it doesn't mean we're in every liquor store. I mean, not close.
Not yet. So, yeah, that's a lot.
But Total Wine, definitely. So we're actually really close. It's very Shark Tanky. You want to work your big box retailers as much as possible. And so Total Wine has been very good to us. We're going to be Spirits Direct, which is huge. If we get that in California, oh my God, that'd be insane. But you can go to just drinkboonsbourbon.com/bottle delivery. But if you just type in Boone's Bourbon, there are a million online stores.
It comes up all that stuff. Yeah. What about Bevmo?
I mean, so that was supposed to happen, and then COVID, it ruined everything. Ruined that for us. But during COVID, we still got Total Wine though. That was
the big hit.
We're like, thank God that still happened. So I know the buyer, Jeff Feist, he's really awesome. He just eventually was like, and it was really cool. I would bug the shit out of him. You know what I mean? And then eventually we got this distributor where then they had a direct contact with him. And I had a one-on-one Zoom call just like this with Jeff Feist to pitch it to him.
Right.
And it was really funny. I was like, hey, Jeff, remember me? And he started laughing. But it was cool because I was the little guy bugging him. And then eventually I got properly solicited to him, right? Like, hey, this is one of our clients, one of our products. And he was like, dude, I would pick it up today. But, all those big companies, they have resets, they call it. And so he's like, I can't put anything new until 2021 because of COVID. So next year we're now in Arizona, same buyer.
Nice.
And we're about to get in Nevada. So we want to close that circle with Bevmo.
Oh, good.
But it's just because of COVID, man. But they know about it. And then we won double gold recently at the New York International. And that was awesome because only six bottles get that.
Oh,
we're
shit.
one of them, and out of 5,000, right? And so we randomly it's a blind test. That's how we got it. And so that's cool. And then we got named top 6 in the world, supposedly, to Forbes, right? And so that's when Jeff was like, okay. Next year,
okay, yeah.
I got it. All right, man. Stop being so come. Yeah, I swear to God, I'm going to do it one day. And so then that'll happen come next year. And then Costco San Diego, because in California, Costco is a totally different beast.
Absolutely.
It's all put up by markets. And so the San Diego guy, I believe his name is Tony, he's totally into it, but same thing, 2021.
Well, the thing was a Screwball, which is that peanut butter whiskey you picked up at Costco, and that's the jam,
from
right?
San Diego.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They started here, and now they're in all these Costco's. I'm like, that's the biggest thing they could have done. It's amazing,
dude. They started a trend too. There's a whole bunch of peanut butter whiskeys that came out after that.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
you can't touch it.
Screwball is the one. The rest of it's kind of jokey.
Right, exactly.
It's interesting. It's all about. There's so many fads, dude. Fads go, but timing. We want ours to be more like a legendary bottle, not just a flavor thing. There's no flavor to it. It's 117, 75 corn, 21 rye, 4 barley. That's the mash.
Yeah, no, you're definitely like, there's no trend there. I mean, it's just, you want another good bottle. You want to be a premier bottle, and that's what I think you have. So I love the name, the homegrown.
Thanks,
I mean,
man.
that's tremendous. So what we'll do is, obviously when I put this out, obviously it's Tyler Boone on Instagram, pretty much basic, right?
Yep.
Spotify. I looked you up. That's pretty easy. All your shit's there.
Sure.
Anywhere else that you want people to hear, or go to or whatever?
Yeah, just drink boonsbourbon.com, and then you can go to tylerboonmusic.com. Obviously, we're in all the online stores for music stuff, but it's just we're always putting new shit out. We're gonna put up that live concert with Fred Mennick. He is like the bourbon influencer, right?
Right.
And so he's behind it. So, it's like being in a band, dude. You eventually get an award here, and you keep working, and we're getting it, dude. It's cool. Like, I will always do these things,
right?
Because they freaking matter, dude. Because I used to work in restaurants, when I was like coming up, and people come in with a bottle, and you could just tell it was like, very political, and no one was really pushing the product. You know what I mean? But then it was like, you could tell when one product came in, when they're trying to pitch against the bar or something, where like you could tell that brand is really working hard to build relationships. You know what I mean? Like Garrison Brothers. You ever had that one?
Mm-mm.
So Garrison Brothers has a big star on it. This guy Shane, who's freaking awesome. We met at the Nashville Whiskey Festival. It's like one of those things you walk down, you try everything like a million times. And he was right next to me. And they're huge, but they still he is their full-time travel guy. And he just goes all across the country and works it. And I learned a lot from that guy. It's like, you gotta build a relationship with liquor stores. He's just telling me the whole time, his life is a freaking rock star trip because he's in a new city every day.
Of course.
But he's just like, you gotta build relationships. You gotta do that. So, it's cool, man. It's getting cooler. So I'm really glad you brought us on, because I hope people see this and we'll share it. So
yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm trying to be grassroots. I'm trying to start something not different, but a little bit unique. And so
sure.
like I said, I love the fact that we have that connection with our name, and I love whiskey, and you're making whiskey and music, and I just appreciate everything you've done, allowing me to communicate with you. And I know you're freaking busy as hell. So I hope to God we can get together when this COVID is over. You're down in San Diego. We can go golfing. Big time golf fan.
Yeah.
Hell
yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
We figured out
into golf.
We're cousins now, so now we're family.
Yeah. Now we have to hang out.
Right.
Get drunk on the pier.
I love the fact that you're doing this thing all on your own, and you're just crushing it, man. Between music and bourbon, and just look at you. You're just in your apartment by yourself, just working 24/7.
Dude, I'm gonna be working probably till 1, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But you gotta admit, man. I was telling you, playing cover gigs, it definitely beats it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, man. Well, listen, check it out. I will definitely hit you up on all the tags, email, send it out to as many people. I'd love to have people hear your story. Not everyone knows it. You got to remember that. You know it, and a few people know it, but not everyone knows it. So we can share it and get it out there. And thank you so much. And I'll definitely hit you up. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Tyler.
Well, dude, thank you so much, Ken. This is fucking awesome, dude. I'll holler next time I'm in San Diego.
All right, brother. I'll hit you up on Instagram. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Peace.